My name is Claire, and I would like to welcome you to the 2024 Breaking Barriers Symposium.
And I'm Melanie. Claire and I will be emceeing your event today. Now, let's please give a warm welcome to Angelina Hinojosa from the Pinoleville Pomo Nation, who'll be leading us in a land acknowledgement this morning.
Our land acknowledgement is really meaningful to us, and we say it because we want people to know that our people are still here today and to these days, because our youth are doing so much hard work in our communities, and so are our adults. But that's what this conference is, right? Breaking barriers and kind of acknowledging like we have one another, especially in communities. Even though I come from a different community, it's all about power in different communities as well. And so just want to start off the good morning in our way, in a good way, and hopefully you can all feel that good energy. Meet somebody new today, say hi to somebody, network, make new friends, because that's what today is also about. So I'm going to go ahead and say the land acknowledgement. Thank you. Please rise for the opening acknowledgements in honor of Sacramento Indigenous Peoples Tribal Lands. To the original people of this land, the Nisenan people, the Southern Maidu Valley and Plains Miwok, Patwin Wintu peoples, and the people of Wilton Rancheria, Sacramento's only federally recognized tribe, may we acknowledge and honor the Native people who came before us and still walk beside us today on these ancestral lands by choosing to gather today an active practice of acknowledgement and appreciation for Sacramento's Indigenous people's history, contributions, and lives. Thank you.
And what I wanted to share with you is this is actually incredibly aligned with McGeorge. And the reason why is that ultimately a law school needs to be serving justice and needs to be advancing good government and law. And McGeorge nationally is ranked roughly third in the nation for government law, roughly 10th for policy. And in addition to breaking barriers, we also are working on transformational change in the mental health care space through our Transformational Change Partnership. And we have a faculty member who is known as California's Mr. Fix-It. When a state agency is not working, he comes in and does work to actually better deliver services to Californians. And so from our perspective, one of the best ways that you can make change in the world is through a career in law or policy. And so for those of you who are young people, I want to invite you to someday join us at McGeorge as future law students and ultimately lawyers or policymakers. It is now my great honor to introduce my colleague, Elizabeth Estes. Elizabeth Estes is a career California children's attorney who's dedicated her 30-year career to supporting children's youth, families, and those who serve and support them. Ms. Estes is an expert in child and family rights and child-serving agency responsibilities and processes in California, including special education, student services, privacy, information sharing, discrimination, harassment, juvenile dependency, and more. Based on a harrowing hostage experience in college and a fundamental passion for ensuring the most supportive and effective California children's system possible, Elizabeth launched Breaking Barriers in 2014, which is a collaborative of leaders across children's serving systems throughout California who are united by the conviction that only through collaborative planning and problem solving can we effectively and holistically support California's children and youth. Elizabeth served as the statewide chair of the Students and Special Education Practice Group at the law firm of Dennis Walliver Kelly, and then continued her practice at Atkinson, Adelson, Loya, Rudd, and Romo. In 2021, she is appointed by the governor to the California Advisory Commission on Special Education and chairs the Mental Health Committee for the commission. She is a frequent presenter and trainer across California's child serving systems and publisher of numerous manuals on the field on how to better unite and support and care for the children, youth, and families and communities of California.
Welcome. I'm Elizabeth Estes, and I just can't thank you enough for being here for Breaking Barriers' 8th annual symposium. We've grown every single year, and in this entire movement, which is what I think we're doing here, is born of you. It's not born of me at all, actually. I wrote an essay 8 years ago out of trauma, secondary trauma, for children and youth who can't get what they need when they need it in California. And a friend asked to see my diary entry. It ended up in the San Francisco Chronicle, miraculously, and people asked me what we could do. And I said, I think we need to try to talk about integrating services for the children of California. I think we need to unite in care. And isn't there someone else who's tackling that? And they said, yes, but not in the ways you're talking about it. And Breaking Barriers was born. And it has been going ever since, based on volunteerism. Based on volunteerism and based on the strength and the will of the people in this room. And it just keeps growing. So I want to thank you for being here for what I consider to be the movement to better unite in care by, for, and with our children, youth, and families. As you look around the room these next 3 days, please realize that you are the champions. Please realize that you actually are the coalition of the willing who are finding a way to a more integrated, comprehensive, accessible, and effective ecosystem for our children and youth. One that better gets them what they need when they need it, one that better creates the conditions for success and for us, all of us. And in order to do that, we have to unite. I want to thank our sponsors. We can't do this without our sponsors. So if any of you meet any of our sponsors, please, please, please tell them thank you. Because we cannot be here without them agreeing to support all of us in this work. I want to thank any and all of the staff who helped put this together. This was quite a build. So if you are one of those people, if you don't mind standing up, that would be amazing. Every single person in this room is the solution, without exception. No one of us can do this work. No one of us can be the solution. Every single one of us is part of the solution to a better ecosystem for children, youth, and families and those who serve them. So I want to thank you genuinely for being here and realizing that the solution is unity. And we're here to build that unity. Breaking Barriers Conference is a working conference. It's not a like, come and listen to some information and go, or don't go to the that's not Breaking Barriers Symposium. Breaking Barriers Symposium is a symposium where we actually work together. So I encourage you for the 3 days that you're here, or whatever period you are here, to please spend your time listening to each other, learning from each other, working together to better unite our system, either at the state level or the local level or both. And to think the entire time about uniting. Every single person in here is a champion for this work, and what we need to do is connect us all. So everybody you meet, you should be figuring out who they are, figuring out what they're doing to build this better ecosystem, and figuring out how you can nexus with them for us to have our own collective impact. When I think about this work, I actually, interestingly enough, I think about Claire, who just spoke. And there's Claire. And I didn't even know Claire was coming today. But I had great anxiety as I thought about this conference, anxiety for the work we're doing here, because it is so much harder to work together than to work in silos. It is so much harder. Anxiety for those who can't get the support that they need when they need it, or don't have the conditions for success, because I know how much they need our support. And anxiety for us not making it happen, not making it real, but just talking about it. Just talking about it. Let's not talk about it. Let's actually make it real. And I thought of Claire because Claire got up last year and said, "You aren't mad enough. You guys aren't mad enough. And if you were mad enough, then we would be building this transformed ecosystem by, for, and with children and youth and their families that we talk about. We would be better generating the conditions for their success. And I realized, as I did last year, Claire, that I'm mad enough. I'm actually mad enough. And I'm probably mad enough because Breaking Barriers was born of being a hostage and a survivor. And so I am mad enough. And I'm also mad enough because I can still see children and youth who can't get what they need when they need it at the local level, despite their very robust entitlements. And that really moves me forward. But I'm also super, super hopeful. Breaking Barriers was born of It was born of the hope of the people in this room. The people who came to me, some of you have been here for 8 years. And you came to me 8 years ago and you said to me, Elizabeth, we are going to build a better united system. And they have done it. They have done it in their counties. We can make it real. We transformed the airports and national security system in a matter of months after 9/11. We have since closed all California's public schools and shuttered all of our businesses in a weekend. And then what do? We reopened them. If we make this our united will, we can make this our united reality. Every civil rights movement, which I actually believe this is, starts with a vision of a new way that better supports we the people. I think back to the language that we see in the civil rights movement, and that is us. We are the champions as we grow the momentum in this movement to unite in better care by, for, and with children and families and those in serve and support them. And this room represents that. And with that momentum, we're going to find the way. So as we spend these 3 days together, I welcome you to think of these warriors, because you're them. We are what we've been waiting for, and this room represents youth, families coming together with those who are changing the system to change the system. The power of that is extraordinary, and this might be the only forum in California that's doing system reform with youth in the room. Let us just be mad and hopeful enough in the next 3 days to do this work, and then let's take that home and make it real. I'm going to turn it over to Lisa Smusz now, who is my partner in this event and in this work. And she is the head of the social changery. And she is a warrior and a champion like no other. And I'm going to let her introduce herself. But I really, really sincerely want to thank you for being here. I cannot thank you enough.
Thanks. I'm Lisa Smusz. I'm the CEO of the Social Changery, and I'm not going to give my bio. Go look at LinkedIn. That's fine. I want to welcome you all, and maybe more importantly, thank you all for getting here. I know that there's lots of barriers and sacrifices that everybody in this room made. Maybe not least of all is that you're here on a Sunday. Can I just point that out? That's not accidental. We changed that this year so that the young people could be present here today. So thank you for doing that. Quite frankly, when I was getting ready to write this, I wrote something and then I threw it out. I was having a really hard time thinking about what to say today. I don't know if anybody else in this room feels like this, but we've been through so much in the last several years. There's been a lot of setbacks. There's been a lot of times when it felt like we might not be able to turn things around. And so if you are feeling tired and even frustrated today, I would like to normalize that and say that maybe you're not alone in this room, that there's probably a lot of us that are feeling those feelings, but we are here and we continue to show up and we continue to push through. So I was feeling kind of having a hard time of thinking about what to write, and a friend of mine who is sitting out here today in the audience said, can you give us just the tiniest bit of hope? That's what we need right now to move forward. And so I thought about what I could possibly have to offer. And the thing that I had to go back to is that this isn't the first time in our history that we have faced an uncertain future. And I've been doing social change work and community organizing for a little over 25 years now. And one of the things that I am most grateful for in my career is that I had the very, very good fortune of having civil rights leaders from the 60s and 70s be my mentors and the people who trained me. And let me tell you, that was another time when we faced an uncertain future in this country, and that many of the same issues that we're dealing with today that we are trying to face, those folks faced. And so I thought what I would do is honor what they taught me by sharing a couple things today with you and pass those lessons on from the last time that we were in this place. So I'm going to share 2 lessons today that those folks shared with me. So lesson number 1. People who feel alone are easier to control. People who feel part of a community are powerful. So today we're talking about breaking down barriers that stand in the way of our youth and families and communities, the barriers that keep young people from the services they need, that keep families struggling to find support, and that keep each one of us feeling like we are alone in this fight. That feeling of being alone in the fight is not accidental. Throughout history, those who have sought unchecked power have used division to foster mistrust, fuel conflict, and keep us from focusing on the real barriers to change. It is a tactic to keep us isolated in our struggles, preventing us from coming together to tackle the bigger challenges that stand in the way of a just, united future. An ustopia, as Margaret Atwood called it. You see, an ustopia is not a utopia, some perfect paradise, nor is it a dystopia, which is the nightmare that we all fear. It is a future that reflects exactly who we are, what we're willing to give, and how we choose to act. It is a vision shaped not by perfect people, but by people like all of us, working together with our strengths, our flaws, our hopes, and our frustrations. Every person in this room today showed up not because they are perfect, but because they all want to create a more perfect world for our children. So that lesson for me means that let's all give each other some grace and stay united as a community, because that is where the power is. With a common goal, remembering that the most effective tool of oppression is getting us to fight amongst ourselves instead of fighting the source of oppression. Lesson number 2. Joy and celebration are not something we engage in when the work is done. They are the work. You cannot separate how you do something from the goal and the outcome that you seek. You cannot create love out of hate. You cannot create justice out of exploitation. And we cannot create better mental health for our young people at the sacrifice of our own. Change is hard, relentless work, and sometimes it feels like you're taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back. So recognizing and celebrating the small wins along the journey is absolutely essential if we are going to keep going. It doesn't have to be costly or elaborate, but it does have to be authentic and consistent. So We're going to practice a little bit what we preach right now, and we're going to take a moment to do a little celebration. So as I opened with, each one of you had to make sacrifices and overcome challenges to be here today. So we're going to take time to celebrate the fact that you're all here and that you made it. So here's how we're going to do that. And Elizabeth gave you a little preview. When I call out a group that you identify with, and there may be more than one that you all are in, just preview, your job is to stand up. If you are not standing, here's your job. You're going to show appreciation, celebration, and you're going to cheer for those folks that are standing. And I want you to think about this while you are cheering and celebrating them. Think about all the work that they have already done. Think about the fact that they are willing to keep going in this work despite all of the challenges that lie ahead. And think about all of the unseen things that they had to overcome just to be in this room today. And with that feeling in your heart, I want you to let them hear some appreciation and let them feel like a part of a community. All right, you ready to try this? All right. If you work in our educational systems, please stand. Thank you for your service. You may be seated. If you work in our behavioral health systems, please stand. Thank you for your hard work. You may be seated. If you work in our government systems, please stand. Thank you for your service. If you are a parent or a caregiver of a young person in your life, please stand. Let's hear it for the parents. Thank you. And this is the one I'm most hyped about. If you are one of the 100 young person that came on a freaking Sunday to be here today, will you please stand? Thank you for being here. And I'm going to give a little personal shout out. If you are from the Social Changery team, the Breaking Barriers team, the Pro Youth and Families team, and all of the young people on the committee that made this happen today, stand up. It is time for you to take a bow. Thank you. Thank you for indulging that. It feels good though, right? Just a few minutes to celebrate, just a few minutes to have some joy can lift your energy again and make you feel hopeful. Look around this room. This is the us that decides what's next. There's no hero on the horizon that's coming to solve this for us. The heroes are in the room. The hero is you. This is not somebody else's fight. This is ours, and it is happening now. So, in the words of the late, great Harvey Milk, I am here to recruit you, not just as participants of a conference, it was a concert earlier, not just as participants of a conference, but as builders, as leaders, and yes, as warriors for a better future. Today is not just the beginning of a conference, it is the beginning of a movement. Let's engage with open minds and committed hearts. Let's learn, let's listen, and speak with courage. And I want to make this very clear. I want you to leave this conference not just with inspiration, but with commitment to yourselves, to each other, and to this work that lies ahead. What specific steps are you going to take back to your communities, back to your networks? What are you individually going to do to bring this us-topia closer to reality? The connections that we build here today can be the foundation for lasting change, but only if we commit to carrying them forward and building something together. Making it real isn't a slogan. It's a challenge. Let's make it real.